This is week 7. It's going to be a body awareness exercise, and this week we'll work on back up. Step 1. We're going to take a piece of food and try to lure our dogs one step backwards. Now this is not as easy as it sounds. It's very easy to get a sit or even a down in the beginning if they've never tried this before. But the key is where you put the treat. So take it in your hand, put it in front of your dog's face and aim under their chin. And click for one step. And it can be with any foot. If this keeps happening to you, or you're trying to lure your dog but they keep sitting, practice just clicking them for standing a couple of times. Just to get them the idea that they have to stand up to do a shake. And it might be that you're holding the treat too high. If you hold it up here, they're very likely to sit down. So under the chin is where you're aiming. Some dogs, you can even put it all the way down in between their front legs, but you can also get it down if you do that. So it's a little bit of a trial and error process. Make sure you practice this on a non-slip surface like a carpet or outside in the grass. Step 2. Now see if you can lure your dog a couple of more steps, like 3 to 5 steps for example. Good boy. Good boy. Troubleshooting. If your dog starts to back up in a skew or crooked way, which is very common, you can use a wall or you can have the dog in between your legs to help them get the straight back up from the beginning. So in between the legs it would look something like this. If you're using the wall, you can use your own body as the other side. If your dog doesn't like to be against the wall or find it scary, you can try and use a small corridor in your house, like your hallway or behind the couch, in between the wall and the couch. Just experiment. All dogs are different and they learn in different ways. Step 3. In this step we're going to take help from this mat to get your dog to offer you a backup. So what you do is you put the mat down. Good boy. And then you lower your dog's back feet onto the mat. It's good if the mat is slightly different from the floor so your dog can tell when their feet are going on it. Once you practice this a couple of times, start feeding your dog on the mat. So they expect their treat to be on the mat. Step 4. Now we're going to add a verbal cue and see if the dog can offer us the backup with the help of the mat and the verbal cue. The reason why we choose to add a cue so soon is because we don't want the dog to think that holding your hand still or standing in front of your dog means that they should offer backup to you. So what we're going to do is going to say the verbal cue, back up, and then lower the dog. Be sure not to say the new cue and do the old cue, which is the lure, at the same time, because then the dog will struggle to pick up the new cue. The way you do it is you say your new cue, back up, pause a millisecond, and then old cue. Now we're going to say the cue, the verbal cue, and see if your dog will offer you the behavior. If they don't, it doesn't matter, just lure them a few more times and see if they think to do it. You ready, Lumos? Back up. Forward. Back up. And in the beginning, when they're offering, one step is really good. So be really generous with your dog, and if they offer you 1 step or 2 steps, be very happy and reinforce them. Back up. can also choose to add a release cue if you want to. We have release cues to our backup behaviors for the reason being that we would like our dogs to stay out, like they back up and you want them to do some tricks while they're back out there and then come back to you. Then you really need to have a release cue. So for example, I'll ask him to back up and sit, ready, and free. Having the release cue here is crucial, otherwise when he's done with his backup he would just come back to me. When your dog is backing up and you click them, make sure to reinforce them where they are or behind them. Here's another tip. Don't click your dog when he's standing still. For example, if your dog backs up 5 steps and then stands still, don't click the standing still. Make sure to click sooner so you click your dog for actually moving backwards. Step 5. Now it's time to remove the mat. Back up. And again, since we raised criteria, because he doesn't have his mat back there, we're gonna reinforce him for a smaller part of the behavior. So just a couple of steps. Back up. Back up. Back up. Step 6. Now it's time to work on distance. While working on distance, it's great if you have big treats like these that you can easily toss to the mat and the dog finds them easily, instead of a tiny kibble, for example, that they will take forever to find. Ask your dog to back up and click and feed him on the mat. While your dog is still eating the treat, you back away a couple of steps from the mat and release your dog to you. So on the next trial, the distance to the mat will be greater. I set up cones to illustrate the distance that I am moving away from Lumos, so that you can see that I'm not always making the criteria harder and harder. Remember that you can always click your dog before he reaches the mat at any time and feed him on the mat. With a backup behavior, you can choose either to say back up once, and that means keep going until released, or you can keep cueing back up, back up, back up. That's fine. You can also use your keep going signal that we learned a couple of weeks ago, the go cue. So I would say back up and then go, go, depending on how long I want him to go. So we're gonna try that. Ready? Back up. Go. 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 Good boy. Free.
Back up, go, 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 turn, back through, flutters, pause up,
So now you reach this final stage, you can start proofing the behavior. For example, ask your dog to back up and then you back up, so you go away from each other. It's really hard for dogs in general. Give it a try. Each gonna go.